Admiral Marcus Torres stood in Earth's command center, watching the data streams from the horizon with growing admiration and horror. Captain Chen and her crew had been fighting the alien ship for 6 hours, using nothing but spare parts and human stubbornness. But now long-range sensors were showing something that made his blood run cold. "Sir," Lieutenant Commander Williams announced, "we're detecting multiple faster-than-light signatures approaching our solar system. At least 12 ships, all matching the size and energy profile of the Kethver vessel." "Time to arrival?" Torres asked, though he already knew the answer would be bad. 47 minutes, sir." Torres looked around the command center at Earth's best military minds and saw the same thought on every face. One human ship was barely holding its own against a single alien vessel. What could Earth possibly do against 13 of them? "Sir," came another voice from the communication station, "we're receiving transmissions from all over the system. Every mining station, cargo hauler, and research facility is asking for orders." Torres felt something shift in his mind. He had been thinking like a traditional military commander, worried about warships and proper weapons. But the horizon had just proven that humans didn't need proper weapons to fight. They needed creativity, determination, and the willingness to turn anything into a tool of war. "Get me a connection to every human vessel, station, and facility in the solar system," Torres ordered. "Emergency priority channel." Within minutes, his face appeared on screens throughout human space. Mining crews on asteroid stations, cargo pilots hauling supplies to Mars, scientists at research facilities, even civilian tourists on luxury liners. All of them watched as their highest military commander spoke. "People of Earth and her colonies," Torres began. "6 hours ago, aliens contacted us asking for help. We sent the Horizon to rescue them. It was a trap. They're scouts for something called the Hegemony, and they plan to conquer our world." He paused, letting that sink in. "The Horizon is still fighting, but a fleet of alien warships will be here in less than an hour. They expect to find a defenseless planet populated by naive creatures who don't know how to fight." Torres smiled grimly. They're about to learn they were wrong about the defenseless part. What happened next would be studied by military historians for generations. In 43 minutes, the human race transformed its entire civilian space infrastructure into the largest improvised armada in known history. Cargo haulers designed to move ore between planets suddenly sprouted, missile tubes made from their loading systems. Mining stations that carved up asteroids turned their industrial cutting beams toward space. Research vessels equipped with experimental engines became fast attack craft. Even luxury cruise ships found ways to contribute, using their massive engines as kinetic weapons. "Sir," Williams reported, "the mining station at Ceres has rigged their entire asteroid processing system as a mass driver. They can launch chunks of rock at significant fractions of light speed. The cargo fleet near Jupiter has formed up into battle formation," another officer added. "They're using their shipping containers as armor and turning their crane systems into projectile launchers." "And, sir," came a third report, "the research station at Europa has figured out how to weaponize their ice drilling equipment. They're calling it a freeze ray." Torres watched the tactical display as hundreds of civilian vessels and installations transformed themselves from peaceful tools into weapons of war. It was chaotic, improvised, and completely insane by any military standard. It was also the most terrifying thing he had ever seen. "Sir," the long-range sensor operator announced, "the alien fleet is dropping out of faster-than-light travel. They're just sitting there." Torres looked at the display and understood why. The Kethvar had expected to find a single planet with maybe a few orbital defenses. Instead, they were looking at what appeared to be an entire solar system turned into a fortress. "Open a channel to the alien fleet," Torres ordered. The main screen flickered, and suddenly he was looking at a Kethvar commander who looked very different from the confident Velith. This alien seemed shocked and uncertain. "I am Fleet Commander Zareth of the Hegemony," the alien said. "We demand the immediate surrender of the humans who attacked our scout vessel." "This is Admiral Torres of Earth," Torres replied calmly. "I'm afraid I can't do that. You see, those humans were defending themselves against liars and murderers. Your single ship cannot stand against our fleet." "You're right," Torres agreed. "One ship can't, but you're not facing one ship." He gestured, and the tactical display appeared on the alien screen. Zareth's eyes widened as he saw the true scope of what faced him. Hundreds of human vessels, thousands of armed installations, and every piece of space debris in the solar system turned into a potential weapon. "This is impossible," Zareth whispered. "Civilizations don't mobilize their entire infrastructure for war. It's too expensive, too dangerous." "You're thinking like a reasonable species," Torres replied. "But you made one crucial mistake. You hurt our people. You lied to us when we tried to help you, and now you're threatening our families." He leaned forward, and when he spoke again, his voice carried the cold fury of an entire species that had been betrayed. "Commander Zareth, you're about to learn what humans are like when we're really angry." The battle began when the ice research station at Europa fired first. Their weaponized drilling system sent a beam of supercooled particles across space that froze an entire section of the lead HFY ship's hull, making it brittle enough for follow-up attacks to shatter. Then the mining station at Ceres opened fire, launching asteroid chunks at incredible speeds. The first salvo missed, but the second punched clean through a HFY ship's shields and hull, splitting it in half. But the real shock for the aliens came when they realized that every piece of debris in the solar system was potentially deadly. Cargo containers became kinetic missiles. Waste products from mining operations turned into shrapnel clouds. Even ice chunks from comet mining were accelerated to lethal velocities. They're using garbage as weapons. Zareth screamed as his ships tried to maneuver through a cloud of deadly debris. "Effective garbage," Torres corrected as 3 more alien ships suffered critical damage. The HFY tried to use their superior technology and firepower, but they quickly discovered the problem with fighting humans. Every time they destroyed one improvised weapon, 2 more appeared. Every time they adapted to a human tactic, the humans invented something new. Mining ships began ramming alien vessels, using their heavy construction to punch through alien hulls. Research vessels used their experimental engines to create gravity wells that pulled HFY ships into asteroid fields. Even tourist ships contributed by using their luxury amenities as distractions. One alien commander was reportedly so confused by a holographic beach vacation that he flew straight into a weapons platform. "This is madness." Zareth's voice cracked as his fleet took more and more damage. "You're civilians! This isn't how war is supposed to work." "You're right," Torres agreed as another alien ship exploded under the combined fire of a dozen human vessels. "This isn't war. War implies you have a chance to win." In the middle of the battle, a new voice joined the communication channel. It was Captain Chen from the Horizon, her ship now docked with the heavily damaged HFY scout vessel. "Admiral Torres," she reported. "We've captured Commander Veleth and his crew. Turns out HFY aren't nearly as tough as they pretend when you take away their technological advantages." "Status of your ship, Captain?" "Held together with spare parts and pure stubbornness, sir. But we're ready to continue the fight." Torres looked at his tactical display. Of the 13 HFY ships that had arrived, only 5 were still functional and they were trying to retreat. But human vessels were pursuing them, making sure they didn't escape to report back to their hegemony. "Commander Zareth," Torres called to the alien fleet commander. "I'm prepared to accept your surrender." "Surrender?" Zareth sounded shocked. "The hegemony does not surrender to primitive species." "Look around you, Commander. Your fleet is destroyed. Your scout ship is captured. Your supposedly superior technology has been defeated by mining equipment and garbage. How primitive do we look now?" There was a long silence before Zareth spoke again, his voice filled with something that might have been awe or terror. "What are you?" Torres smiled coldly. "We're humans, Commander, and you just learned why that's the most dangerous thing you can be in this galaxy." The 5 surviving HFY ships hung in space near Earth's moon, their hulls scarred and their weapons silent. Admiral Torres stood on the bridge of his flagship, the UES Constitution, which had arrived just as the battle was ending. Around him, the improvised human fleet maintained a careful watch on their defeated enemies. "Admiral," came Captain Chen's voice over the communication system, "we've finished interrogating the prisoners from the scout ship. You need to hear this." "Go ahead, Captain." "Sir, the HFY have used this exact same trick on 47 different worlds. They pose as refugees, study their targets, then call in invasion fleets. Every single one of those civilizations is now extinct." Torres felt a cold rage settle in his chest. 47 species? "Yes, sir. And according to Commander Veleth, the hegemony has thousands of worlds under their control. They've been doing this for centuries, wiping out any species that might eventually become a threat." On the main screen, Fleet Commander Zareth's image appeared, The alien looked defeated and desperate. Admiral Torres, I wish to discuss terms of surrender. The hegemony recognizes your species' right to exist. We can negotiate a peaceful settlement. Peaceful settlement? Torres repeated quietly. After 47 genocides? Those were different circumstances, Zareth said quickly. Your species has proven itself worthy of respect. We can offer you a place in the hegemony as a subject world. You would have limited autonomy and— Stop talking, Torres said in a voice so cold that even his own crew felt chills. He turned to his communication officer. Get me a channel to every Kethvar ship and broadcast this conversation throughout their fleet. I want every alien to hear what I'm about to say. The communication officer nodded. Channel open, sir. All Kethvar vessels are receiving. Torres looked directly into the camera, knowing that his words would be heard by every surviving alien. My name is Admiral Marcus Torres of the Earth Defense Force. 6 hours ago, your people came to us pretending to need help. We sent our best ship and our best people to rescue you. He paused, letting that sink in. You betrayed that kindness. You tried to murder the humans who came to save you, and now you want to negotiate? Admiral, Zareth interrupted, we can discuss compensation for your losses. The hegemony has vast resources. Did you offer compensation to the other 47 species? Torres asked. Did you negotiate with them before you exterminated them? Zareth fell silent. I thought not, Torres continued. So let me explain something to you about humans, Commander. We have a saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You've already used up your one chance to fool us. Admiral, please be reasonable, Zareth pleaded. We could be valuable allies. Our technology, our knowledge of the galaxy. Your technology. Torres laughed, but there was no humor in it. Commander, in the last 6 hours, human civilians with mining equipment and spare parts defeated your superior technology. What exactly do you think you have to offer us? Captain Chen's voice came over the communication system again. Admiral, I've got Commander Veleth here. He wants to speak to you. Put him through. The alien who had started this whole crisis appeared on a secondary screen. He looked much different now. His elegant uniform was torn, his pale blue skin was bruised, and his large dark eyes held an expression of genuine fear. Admiral Torres, Veleth said quietly, I want you to know that I regret what happened. If I had known what humans were truly capable of, I would never have attempted this deception. Regret? Torres replied. You regret getting caught. You regret losing. But do you regret the 47 species you helped exterminate? Veleth looked away. I was following orders. So were the humans who died saving your worthless life, Torres snapped. The difference is our orders were to help. Yours were to commit genocide. He turned back to the main screen where Zareth waited. Commander, you asked what we are. Let me tell you exactly what humans are. We are the species that travels across the galaxy to help strangers. We are the people who risk our lives for others without asking for anything in return. Torres leaned forward, his voice growing harder. But we are also the species that remembers every betrayal, every lie, every murdered friend. And when someone hurts us while we're trying to help them, we become something much more dangerous than your hegemony ever imagined. Admiral, Zareth said desperately, surely we can find some solution that doesn't involve more violence. Oh, there won't be any more violence, Torres agreed. Because you're all going to die right here, right now. The alien commander looked shocked. You can't simply execute prisoners of war. There are laws, civilized conventions? Torres laughed coldly. Did your hegemony follow civilized conventions when you murdered 47 entire species? Did you offer quarter to the civilians and children you exterminated? He gestured to his tactical officer. Prepare to fire on all Kethvar vessels. Wait, Zareth screamed. We surrender. We invoke the protection of galactic law. What galactic law? Torres asked. The law that says it's acceptable to commit genocide as long as you do it efficiently? The law that allows you to trick peaceful species into lowering their defenses before you murder them? Please, Zareth begged, we have families, children of our own. So did the 47 species you exterminated, Torres replied without emotion. So did the humans who died trying to rescue you. Where was your mercy then? Captain Chen's voice cut through the conversation. Admiral, I'm broadcasting this entire exchange on all hegemony frequencies. Every alien ship in the galaxy will hear what happens next. Good, Torres said. I want them all to hear this message. He stood up, knowing that his next words would be heard across the galaxy. To any member of the hegemony listening to this transmission, my name is Admiral Marcus Torres of Earth. Your people came to my world pretending to need rescue. We sent our best people to help you, and you tried to murder them for their kindness. He paused, looking directly into the camera. This is what happens to species that mistake human compassion for weakness. All ships, Torres commanded his fleet, open fire. The space around Earth's moon suddenly filled with deadly light. Hundreds of human vessels, from mighty warships to converted garbage haulers, opened fire simultaneously on the remaining Kethvar ships. The aliens' shields lasted perhaps 30 seconds before being overwhelmed by the sheer volume of firepower. But Torres wasn't done. As the alien ships exploded one by one, he continued speaking to the galaxy. For centuries, your hegemony has murdered peaceful species by pretending to need help. You've turned rescue missions into death traps. You've made kindness itself into a weapon against the innocent. The last Kethvar ship exploded in a ball of fire that could be seen from Earth's surface. That ends now, Torres continued. Humanity is going to do something that apparently no other species in this galaxy has been willing to do. We're going to hunt down every hegemony ship, every hegemony world, and every hegemony leader until your entire civilization is nothing but a memory. He leaned closer to the camera. You wanted to see what humans are like when we're angry. You're about to find out. Captain Chen's voice came over the communication system one final time. Admiral, we're receiving responses from all over the galaxy. It seems there are other species out there who have been hiding from the hegemony, waiting for someone to fight back. Tell them they don't have to hide anymore, Torres replied, watching the last burning debris of the alien fleet drift past Earth's moon. Tell them that humans are going to war, and anyone who wants to help is welcome to join us. As the funeral pyre of the Kethvar fleet burned in Earth's sky, Torres made one final announcement to the galaxy. To every peaceful species listening to this message, you are no longer alone. To every member of the hegemony, your time is over. And to anyone else who thinks they can trick humans by pretending to need help? He smiled coldly. Remember what happened here? Remember that we came to rescue you, and you chose to make it your funeral instead. The transmission ended, leaving the galaxy to contemplate a new and terrifying reality. Somewhere in the darkness between the stars, a species had emerged that was willing to cross the galaxy to help strangers, and equally willing to cross it again to destroy anyone who betrayed that help. The humans had taken their place among the stars, and the galaxy would never be the same. Captain Vexith watched the display screen with growing excitement. His clawed fingers tapped against the command chair as he studied the lone ship drifting near the asteroid field. The vessel looked damaged, maybe lost. Best of all, it was human. Analysis complete, Captain. His second officer, Krelon, reported. The thin alien's 4 eyes blinked in sequence as he read the data. Single cargo freighter. Human design. Minimal weapons. Crew of maybe 20 beings. Vexith's mouth curved into what humans might call a smile, though his sharp teeth made it look more threatening. His green-scaled face reflected the blue glow of the ship's instruments. Perfect. Humans always carry good technology. Their ships have valuable metals and rare elements. The bridge crew of the Zephyrian destroyer Shadow's Edge buzzed with quiet energy. They had been hunting in this sector for weeks without finding good prey. Most ships traveled in groups now, or took safer routes through well-protected space lanes. But here was a gift, a human ship all alone in the darkness between stars. What's their status? Vex asked, standing up from his chair. He was tall even for a Zephyrian, nearly 7 feet with long arms and legs built for speed. His people had evolved on a world with low gravity, making them quick and agile. They appear to be drifting, Krelon said. Minimal engine activity. Maybe they have mechanical problems. Their distress beacon is not active, but their communications are working. Vexith nodded. Sometimes human ships pretended to be in trouble to avoid paying taxes or fees at space stations. They would drift in empty space and wait for rescue from their own kind. It made them easy targets for raiders like himself. Bring us closer. Keep the cloak active. Signal the Night Hunter and Silent Death to move into position. The 2 other Zephyrian destroyers were invisible to most sensors, just like his own ship. Zephyrian technology was among the best in known space when it came to stealth systems. They could approach any target without being detected until they chose to reveal themselves. The other ships acknowledge, his communications officer reported. They are moving to surround the human vessel. Vexith walked to the front of the bridge and looked out through the main window. He could not see the human ship yet, but he knew it was there. Soon they would have another successful raid to add to their record. The Zephyrian Dominion controlled dozens of star systems, but they made most of their wealth through raiding and piracy. It was an old tradition among his people. The strong took from the weak. The smart took from the stupid. And humans, despite their growing presence in galactic space, were still considered easy prey by most experienced raiders. Position report, Vex ordered. We are 2,000 kilometers from the target, Krelon said. The Night Hunter is approaching from the opposite side. The Silent Death is moving to block any escape route toward the main shipping lanes. Excellent. What do we know about this class of human ship? His tactical officer, a young female named Silra, pulled up information on her screen. Earth-built cargo freighter. They call it a Liberty-class vessel, standard design used throughout human space. Weak shields, basic weapon systems. Built for carrying cargo, not fighting. Vexith had raided human ships before. They were usually profitable targets. Humans like to carry all sorts of interesting things. Advanced computers, medical supplies, rare minerals from their home system. And human prisoners could sometimes be sold to certain buyers who found their technology skills useful. Any escort ships detected? Negative, Captain. The human vessel appears to be alone. That was unusual but not unheard of. Most cargo ships traveled in convoys for protection, but sometimes individual vessels took shortcuts through less safe areas of space. It was risky, but it could save time and money. This human captain had made a mistake, and now they would pay for it. Begin final approach. Prepare boarding teams. I want their cargo manifest and any valuable crew members identified before we take everything useful. The bridge crew worked efficiently as they had done many times before. Zephyrians were natural predators, and raiding came as easily to them as breathing. They had perfected the art of ship-to-ship combat over centuries of practice. 1,000 kilometers in closing, Silra reported. Vexith could see the human ship now on the main screen. It looked like most human designs, practical and sturdy rather than elegant. Humans built their ships like they built everything else, to last and to work rather than to look beautiful. The vessel was maybe 300 meters long with a wide cargo section in the middle and engines at the back. Any change in their status? No, Captain. They continue to drift. No increase in engine activity or weapons charging. Perfect. They probably don't even know we're here yet. The other two Zephyrian ships were now in position. Each destroyer carried enough firepower to reduce the human freighter to scrap metal in minutes. But that would be wasteful. Better to disable their engines and take everything valuable before destroying what was left. 500 kilometers, Silra announced. Begin charging weapons. Prepare to decloak on my command. Vexith felt the familiar excitement that came before a successful raid. Soon they would add another victory to their record. The human crew would surrender quickly once they realized they were surrounded and outgunned. Most species did when faced with Zephyrian military power. Weapons charged and ready. All ships report ready to attack. Boarding teams standing by. Vexith took a deep breath and smiled again. Decloak all ships. Disable their engines. Prepare to broadcast surrender demands. The 3 Zephyrian destroyers appeared around the human freighter like deadly shadows becoming solid. Their weapons were already aimed and charged. Escape was impossible. Human vessel, this is Captain Vexith of the Zephyrian Dominion. He spoke into the communication system. You are surrounded and outgunned. Shut down your engines and prepare to be boarded. Do not attempt to resist or send distress signals. Comply immediately and your crew will not be harmed. He waited for the usual response. Panic, begging, or immediate surrender. Most cargo ship captains knew they had no choice when faced with 3 military vessels. But something felt different this time. The human ship's response came quickly, but the voice sounded calm, almost relaxed. This is Captain Elena Rodriguez of the Earth vessel Terra's Pride. We acknowledge your superior position and are prepared to surrender. We request that our crew be treated according to galactic maritime law. Vexith frowned. The human captain sounded too calm, too prepared. Most cargo ship crews panicked when raiders appeared. They begged or tried to bargain, but this human woman spoke like she had been expecting this to happen. Disable their engines, he ordered. But be careful. Something doesn't feel right about this. The weapons officer fired precise shots that damaged the human ship's engine section without destroying it completely. The freighter shuddered and went completely dark except for emergency lighting. Direct hit. Their engines are offline. They are completely disabled. Good. Prepare boarding shuttles, and keep scanning for any other ships in the area. I want to make sure this human vessel is really alone. As his crew prepared to board and loot their latest prize, Vexith couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The human captain had been too calm, too ready. But he pushed the worry aside. After all, what could one damaged human cargo ship do against 3 Zephyrian destroyers? He would soon find out that sometimes the hunter could become the hunted. Captain Elena Rodriguez watched the Zephyrian boarding shuttles approach on her command screen. Her calm expression never changed. Even as sparks flew from damaged control panels around the bridge of the Terra's Pride, the attack had been perfectly executed, just enough damage to look convincing. Without actually hurting anyone, boarding. "Shuttles incoming," her first officer Marcus Chen reported. The young man's voice was steady despite the situation. 3 craft, approximately 12 hostiles each. "Good," Elena said quietly. "Right on schedule. Marcus, send the surrender signal. Make it look desperate but cooperative." "Aye, Captain." Marcus activated the communication system. "Zephyrian vessels, this is the Terra's Pride. We surrender unconditionally. Please don't harm our crew. We'll cooperate fully with your boarding teams." Elena smiled slightly. Marcus was a good actor. He sounded appropriately scared while still being professional. The other bridge crew members were playing their parts perfectly too. They looked worried and defeated. Exactly how cargo ship crews should look when being raided by pirates. "Docking clamps engaged," reported Lieutenant Sarah Kim from the engineering station. "They're coming aboard through Cargo Bay 2. "Perfect," Elena said. "Is everyone ready?" "Security teams are in position," Marcus confirmed. "But Captain, are you sure about this? We're taking a big risk." Elena turned to look at him. She was a small woman compared to most starship captains, barely 5 feet tall with gray hair tied back in a simple ponytail, but her brown eyes showed the confidence that came from 30 years of military service. "Trust the plan, Marcus. The trap is set. Now we just need to wait for the rest of our pack to arrive." She activated a hidden panel on her command chair and pressed a series of buttons. Deep in the cargo hold of the Terra's Pride, a specially modified quantum communication device powered up. The device looked like a standard shipping container from the outside, but inside it contained some of the most advanced technology the human military possessed. "Signal transmitted," she said quietly. "Admiral Chen should receive our position in approximately 4 minutes. The Zephyrian boarding teams would find a cargo hold full of what appeared to be valuable trade goods, rare metals, advanced electronics, medical supplies. Everything was real and everything was valuable. But they would also find something else hidden among the cargo containers, something that would change this encounter from a simple piracy raid into something much more dangerous for the aliens. "Captain," Marcus said, "I'm reading footsteps in the main corridor. The boarding teams are spreading out through the ship. Let them come. Remember, we're scared cargo haulers who don't want any trouble." Elena had volunteered for this mission when Admiral Chen proposed the plan 3 months ago. The human fleet had been tracking Zephyrian raider activity throughout this sector. The aliens were good at what they did, fast, quiet, and deadly. They had destroyed dozens of ships and killed hundreds of humans over the past year, but the Zephyrians had made one mistake. They had become predictable. Admiral Chen's intelligence teams had figured out their patrol patterns, their favorite hunting grounds, and their typical tactics. Now it was time to turn the tables. The bridge doors opened with a soft hiss. 6 Zephyrian soldiers entered with weapons drawn. They were tall and thin, moving with the quick grace that made their species so dangerous in combat. Their green scales caught the emergency lighting as they spread out to secure the room. "Nobody move," the lead soldier commanded in accented English. "Keep your hands visible." Elena raised her hands slowly. "We're not armed. Please don't hurt anyone. We have families." The soldier, probably a sergeant based on his equipment, looked around the bridge carefully. His large eyes took in every detail. The damaged control panels, the frightened crew members, the captain who looked too old and small to be dangerous. "Where is your captain?" he demanded. "That's me," Elena said. "Captain Rodriguez. This is my ship." The sergeant seemed surprised. Many alien species found it odd that humans allowed females to command spacecraft. It was another advantage Elena could use. "You will come with us. Your crew will remain here under guard. Of course, whatever you want. Just please don't hurt my people." As Elena was escorted off the bridge, she caught Marcus's eye for just a moment. He gave her the slightest nod. Everything was proceeding according to plan. The walk through her own ship felt strange with alien soldiers surrounding her. The Terra's Pride had been her home for 5 years, but today it was serving a different purpose. Today it was bait in a trap designed to catch predators. They reached Cargo Bay 2 where the main Zephyrian force had set up a command post. Captain Vexith was examining shipping manifests on a portable computer while his soldiers searched through cargo containers. Elena was impressed despite herself. The aliens were efficient and professional. "Ah, the human captain," Vexith said without looking up. "Your cargo manifest is quite interesting. Rare earth metals, medical nanites, quantum processors. Very valuable." "Take whatever you want," Elena said, making her voice shake slightly. "Just let my crew go safely." Vexith finally looked at her. His large eyes studied her face carefully. "You seem remarkably calm for someone being robbed." Elena forced herself to look scared. "I've been through this before. Fighting doesn't help anyone. Better to cooperate and hope you'll be merciful." "Wise words," Vexith said, but something in his voice suggested he wasn't entirely convinced. "Captain," one of his soldiers called from across the cargo bay, "we found something unusual." Elena's heart rate increased slightly, but she kept her expression neutral. The soldier was standing next to the modified shipping container that housed their quantum communicator. "What is it?" Vexith asked, walking over. "This container has additional power connections," the soldier reported, "more than needed for standard cargo preservation." Vexith looked suspicious. "Open it." Elena held her breath as the soldier activated the container's opening mechanism. Inside were rows of what looked like medical equipment, diagnostic scanners, surgical tools, pharmaceutical supplies. All genuine and all extremely valuable. Medical supplies, the soldier reported. High-grade equipment. Worth a fortune on the black market. But hidden among the medical equipment, disguised as a diagnostic computer, the quantum communicator continued transmitting its signal into deep space. A signal that was being received by Admiral Sarah Chen aboard the human dreadnought Indomitable, currently hiding in the shadow of a large asteroid 12 light hours away. "Excellent," Vexith said. "Load everything valuable onto our ships, and Captain Rodriguez, you'll be coming with us. Human starship captains have valuable knowledge." "Please," Elena said. "I have a daughter back on Earth. She needs me." "Then you should have chosen a safer profession," Vexith replied coldly. As the Zephyrians continued looting her ship, Elena calculated timing in her head. The signal had been transmitted 6 minutes ago. Admiral Chen would have received it 2 minutes ago. It would take the human fleet approximately 15 minutes to reach this position once they began moving. She just needed to keep playing her part for a little longer. The scared cargo captain who had stumbled into the wrong place at the wrong time. The Zephyrians had no idea that the Terra's Pride was actually a converted military vessel with hidden weapons and armor. They had no idea that Captain Elena Rodriguez was a decorated combat veteran who had fought in 3 major battles against hostile alien forces. Most importantly, they had no idea that 18 human warships were currently moving toward their position at maximum speed. Ships filled with Marines who had lost friends and family to Zephyrian raiders. Ships commanded by officers who had been waiting months for a chance to strike back. "How much longer?" Vexith asked his loading teams. "Another 10 minutes to secure the most valuable items," came the reply. Elena smiled internally. That would be cutting it very close. But Admiral Chen had promised they would be here, and Elena trusted her old friend completely. The hunter was about to become the hunted. The Zephyrians just didn't know it yet. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the dreadnought Indomitable, watching the tactical display with cold satisfaction. The quantum signal from Elena's ship had arrived exactly on schedule. After months of planning and preparation, the trap was finally about to snap shut. "All ships report ready, Admiral," her communications officer announced. "The fleet is in position and waiting for your orders." Sarah nodded without taking her eyes off the display screen. 18 human warships hung in the darkness behind a massive asteroid, their engines cold and their weapons charged. They had been waiting here for 6 hours, ready to move the moment Elena's signal arrived. "Distance to target?" she asked. 14.7 light minutes, her navigation officer replied. "We can reach the ambush site in 12 minutes at maximum acceleration." Sensor reading on the Zephyrian forces. 3 destroyers, as expected. They appeared to be looting the Terra's Pride according to schedule. Sarah smiled grimly. Elena Rodriguez had been her friend for over 20 years. They had served together during the border wars, fought side by side against hostile alien forces, and saved each other's lives more times than either could count. When Sarah had proposed this dangerous mission, Elena had volunteered immediately. "Begin the approach," Sarah ordered. "All ships maintain radio silence until we reach attack range. I want those alien bastards to have no warning until we're right on top of them." The human fleet began moving through space like a pack of wolves approaching unsuspecting prey. Each ship was painted black to reduce visibility, and their engines had been modified to produce minimal heat signatures. Human military engineers had studied Zephyrian sensor technology for years, learning how to avoid detection. Sarah walked to the front of the bridge and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, Elena was playing her part perfectly, pretending to be a helpless cargo captain while Zephyrian raiders looted her ship. The aliens had no idea they were about to face the full fury of human military power. "Admiral," her tactical officer called, "we're receiving updated intelligence from Fleet Command." "Put it on my screen." The data showed detailed information about Zephyrian military capabilities, ship designs, and tactical preferences. Human intelligence had been studying their enemies for months, learning their strengths and weaknesses. The Zephyrians were fast and stealthy, but they preferred quick raids over prolonged battles. They relied on superior technology and surprise attacks to overcome their enemies. Today they would learn that humans could be just as sneaky, and far more devastating when they chose to fight. 8 minutes to target, the navigation officer reported. Sarah activated the fleet communication system. "All ships, this is Admiral Chen. Our people have suffered under Zephyrian raids for too long. Today we send a message that will echo throughout known space. Today we show these aliens what happens when they threaten human ships and kill human crews." She paused, thinking of all the cargo vessels that had been destroyed, all the civilian crews that had been murdered or sold into slavery. The Zephyrians considered humans to be easy prey, weak and disorganized. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Remember your targets and remember your training. We hit them hard, we hit them fast, and we don't let any of them escape to raid another day. This is our space now, and we protect our own. "All ships acknowledge," her communications officer reported. "The fleet is ready for battle." The Indomitable was the largest ship in the human fleet, a massive dreadnought built specifically for fleet actions against hostile forces. Its main guns could punch through the armor of any known alien warship, and its fighter bays carried enough small craft to overwhelm enemy defenses. But Sarah had brought much more than just one dreadnought. The heavy cruiser Retribution carried the most advanced missile systems in human space. The battleship Vengeance was armed with plasma cannons that could melt enemy ships from the inside out. 3 light cruisers provided additional firepower and speed, and 12 destroyers would prevent any Zephyrian ships from escaping once the battle began. 5 minutes to target, came the announcement. "Begin final weapons check," Sarah ordered. All ships prepare for immediate combat upon arrival. On ships throughout the human fleet, crews made final preparations for battle. Gunners checked their targeting systems. Fighter pilots warmed up their engines. Marines prepared boarding equipment in case any Zephyrian vessels survived long enough to be captured. The humans had learned from studying alien combat tactics. Most species in the galaxy preferred elegant, energy-efficient warfare. They used precise weapons and careful strategy to defeat their enemies with minimal waste. It was considered civilized and sophisticated. Humans had a different approach to warfare. When they fought, they brought overwhelming force and destroyed their enemies so completely that survivors would spread stories of human fury throughout known space. It was brutal and terrifying, exactly the way they wanted it. 2 minutes to target. Sarah could feel the excitement building on the bridge. Her crew had been preparing for this moment for months. They had lost friends and family to Zephyrian raids. Today was payback time. "Admiral," her sensor officer called, "I'm detecting the Zephyrian ships, 3 destroyers in formation around a single human freighter. They appear to be conducting boarding operations." "Perfect. They're completely focused on looting Elena's ship. They won't see us coming until it's too late. 1 minute to target. All ships prepare to drop out of hyperspace directly on top of the enemy formation. Weapons free upon arrival. Show them what human military power looks like." The countdown reached 0, and space around the asteroid field suddenly filled with human warships. The Indomitable appeared directly above the Zephyrian formation, its massive guns already turning toward targets. The smaller human ships materialized in a perfect sphere around the alien raiders, cutting off every possible escape route. "Surprise," Sarah said quietly. The Zephyrian ships reacted with impressive speed, but they were already doomed. Captain Vexith's voice crackled over the communication channels, speaking in rapid Zephyrian to his fellow captains. Sarah's translation computer quickly converted his words to English. "Human fleet. How is this possible? All ships, emergency acceleration. We must escape." But there was nowhere to run. Human destroyers blocked every exit from the asteroid field. The heavier ships had weapons trained on each Zephyrian vessel, and from the carrier Prometheus, swarms of human fighters were already launching to prevent any escape attempts. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Fleet," she broadcast on all frequencies. "Zephyrian vessels, you are surrounded and outgunned. Surrender immediately or be destroyed." The response came quickly from Captain Vexth. "Admiral Chen, we are conducting legitimate salvage operations on a derelict vessel." "We have done nothing wrong," Sarah laughed coldly. "Captain, we have recordings of you threatening the crew of the Terra's Pride and demanding their surrender. That's called piracy, and the penalty is death." She could see the Zephyrian ships beginning to move, trying to find gaps in the human formation. Their stealth systems would be useless now that the humans knew exactly where they were. Their speed advantage meant nothing when they were surrounded. "All ships," Sarah ordered, "begin the attack. Show these aliens what happens when they hunt humans." The space around the asteroid field erupted in weapons fire, as 18 human warships opened up with everything they had. The Zephyrians were about to learn that humans didn't just defend themselves when threatened. They struck back with fire and fury that would make the entire galaxy take notice.